Hey, Marjorie, I thank you so much for coming by and giving me feedback.
You know I wouldn't miss seeing you guys. You guys are the reason we get to come here with so many students every year.
I love it. And I want you to just share with our audience, which will be other DECA advisors that are looking for input about Competition University and how you've used it, what you think about it, what your students think about it, and more. So
We've looked at a lot of resources over the years because I have a large chapter. We fluctuate between 150 and 200 students with one advisor. So those numbers aren't good for the grown-up perspective. So Competition University is my second advisor. It allows me to give the kids a tool to work on what they need in order to have competition success. So they have the capability that I can see what they're doing. So when a kid comes back to me and says, I didn't qualify, you can say, well, you only spent 3 minutes prepping for your test. So it gives that accountability. It gives me tools that they can use when I can't be with them.
I like the fact that you're real about it, because not every student is going to dive in like you'd like them to, but it also helps leverage your time. And that's keeping it real with that number of students. What do your students think about Competition University, those who are diehard?
They love it.
Do dive in.
No, they love it because, you know, as a business teacher, you teach many different levels of students. And some of them are so gung-ho, this is their lifeblood. And Competition University can take them into the depths of things that just a copy of a sample role play or performance indicators can't. Because they give you what you got wrong and why whatever is the right answer is the right answer. And sometimes even written explanations aren't that.
So would your students, you actually mentioned to me that your officers said...
They said, do not ever get rid of Competition University, because that's what they want. They feel like it's what really helped them succeed. This year, our in-person district conference had to go to virtual. So our students just qualified to state conference for the test, and over 75% of my students qualified to go to state conference, which, based on a test, which is always DECA tests are hard, really shows that the resource works.
I appreciate that feedback. And you mentioned that you all have done so well that you have some other followers now at your school.
Oh yeah, so I have students who are in FBLA and DECA, and basically convinced the FBLA advisor that Competition University was necessary for them too. And they had a larger number of students qualify for their state competition this year than ever before.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So how do you use Competition University? You said it's your co-advisor, which I've never heard that analogy, but that's awesome. But how do you actually implement it, and how do you afford it?
Well, what I do is when our students register and say they're going to be in DECA and they want to compete, I bundle everything. So it's a few dollars for Competition University. If you have a large chapter, it really comes down to like $4 a student, $5 a student. We bundle that. We bundle their cost for the in-person district conference and their DECA registration, and maybe $1 or $2 for the chapter. So the parents see one fee that includes a field trip, includes prep material, and registration from National DECA. So I use it that way. We have my chapter officers at our meeting for our new members go through how to use Competition University and how they use it. We have officers who are in charge of each cluster area. So one's for hospitality, one's for marketing, one's for the business, one's for entrepreneurship. And they drill down with their cohort to show what they're doing. We'll either set up a Google Meet with them or we'll meet with them after school. So they use it interactively, and then I can see who's going in there and challenges. And if they have questions, the nice thing is I can go in and see exactly where their question was and help them out.
I love that. So you actually put officers in charge of clusters.
Yes.
Love that idea. Any other tips on using CU like that? That's awesome.
I think the best tip is, as an advisor, is use it as a student first. So Competition University gives you trial runs that you can look at, and I think use it as if you thought you were going to be a DECA competitor. Pick the event that you think would be hardest for you. So I always pick accounting, and go through it as if I was an accounting student to see what's there and what's available, because that helps me help my students learn their subject area.
That's great. And it takes a little while to actually absorb all that's in CU. So if you're going through it as an advisor / student tester, you see what a student would see.
And it helps you like troubleshoot when they do silly things, which is always something good that you want to keep in mind. And don't hesitate to leverage your upperclassmen, your officers. They love that responsibility that, because when one of our underclassmen qualified for ICDC, and the senior that helped her get there was more excited about her qualifying than herself. So it builds team building, relationship building, but as an advisor, it makes your life easier. And I think at this point, especially with everything going on in the world, anything to make our lives easier, it's worth it.
Great. And do you have any comparison, not to make any direct comparison, but you've had experience with other resources.
Yeah.
How do you think Competition University compares?
One is that the advisor gets feedback. And I think at the end of the day, feedback for a teacher is everything. You can see what your students are getting right, what they're getting wrong. I mean, I figured out that everybody was having a problem with distribution, so we did another distribution deep dive in class. You don't get that with just digital copies of a role play or anything else. There's videos to help explain things. They drill down. It's more than just sample tests, sample role play, and maybe a video. This is really tailored to what their strengths and weaknesses are. And as an advisor, you get something that I think is invaluable, and it's feedback.
Awesome. I appreciate your feedback.
I appreciate what you do for DECA, because really, my first purchase of the school year every year, and we've been working together a while, I'm not going to say how long, is making sure we get Competition University.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Thanks. Have a good one.
And good luck.
Thanks.